lovely friends, it's Margaret, and it's time to nerd out about books. Okay, it's March, which means I have a whole new list of books that I am trying to read. I actually did pretty well in February. I haven't gotten my reading roundup for February up on the blog yet, but keep an eye out. I'm planning on getting it up Friday. I don't even know if this is going to go up on Tuesday like it's supposed to, because there was some life stuff, good life stuff, that happened. And so I kind of have dropped everything to handle and deal with and get that so that it, yeah. So anyways, without further ado, I'm going to give you my March TBR. It's not in any particular order except for the one that I'm currently reading right now because I've already jumped into my March books. I'm doing so good, guys. Like, I finished most of my February books. There are a couple that I'm going to like, Stalking Jack the Ripper is going to wait till April. I'm returning it back to the library and I'm like, I've got all of these other books that I'm super psyched to read, and I'm not as psyched to read that just yet. To start it off, I am almost done, as you can tell by my little tabby there. I'm almost done with Allie Carter's Take the Key and Lock Her Up. This is the third book in the Embassy Row series. It follows Grace Blakely. She is an army brat who is actually living with her grandfather in the small country of Adria. Her grandfather is an ambassador for the United States, and she got sent to live with him while her dad was deployed, or is deployed, I guess, because he is still currently not in the picture. She witnessed her mom's murder when she was a kid, and so this whole series has been her trying to figure out who would want to kill her mom. The next book that I'm going to be tackling, and this is going to be on my March and April TBR. If you remember from my reading goals back in January, I want to read one writing book every 2 months. That gives me some time to like get through it and take my time, really just like absorb the information. So I will be starting this one. I've read some of Avi's fiction and I really, really liked that. So I'm looking forward to this one. The next one is about to be a blockbuster movie, and so I figured, I read the book when I was a teenager, like really a long time ago, like so long ago that the audiobook was on the cassette tapes, okay guys? Like, that's how long ago I listened to this book. And I'm that old. I have A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle. It is about a girl whose name escapes me at the moment because it was a long time ago. Hold on, I can look at the first page. Her name is Margaret! Okay, it follows Meg, and her... It follows Meg and a sibling. I don't remember whether it's a brother or a sister. But it follows Meg as she and a couple other people try and figure out what's happened to her father. He is a physicist or something. He does something with time-space. That sounds like physics to me. And so they end up having an adventure across time-space trying to find him. They thought he was dead. Apparently he was not. They end up encountering like these magical beings who are like, hey, let's go rescue your dad. And so they're gonna go rescue their dad. You've seen the movie trailer. You know what it's about. I don't know whether I'm going to see the movie and then read the book, or read the book and then see the movie. It'll just depend on when I get to the book and when I go see the movie. The next one I discovered because I am super interested in her book that is being released soon, and that's Dread Nation. I picked up Promise of Shadows by Justina Ireland. It sounds really, really interesting. It's got like this Greek mythology vibe, like a modern Greek mythology vibe. It's about Zephyr. She is a harpy, but she's not very good at it, and then stuff happens that makes her have to go be good at it. That's pretty much it. I don't know. I wanted to read this because I'm super stoked for Dread Nation because it's like history plus zombies. I'm a mythology nut, and so like you start throwing around names like Zephyr and Nyx, and I'm like, oh, I'm there. This next one should be no surprise to anyone, considering how often I have talked about Six of Crows on my various social media platforms. Speaking of which, okay, so I'm actually listening to it right now with my brother because I sent him, like, I finished Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, and basically just sent him like this flurry of all caps text messages talking about how much I loved it. Like, I was a little bit of a nut over this book. I still am a little bit of a nut over this book. So I decided I'm going to pick up the Grisha trilogy because I need more of this world. I need so much more of this world. Like, I'm starving. Listen, if I were a Grisha, this world would be my Jurda Parem. That's how much I love this right now. Only I do actually eat and sleep. So, okay, maybe not Parem, but whatever. I cannot wait to see what happens. All I know is I have not looked too far into it because I already accidentally spoiled myself with Six of Crows about one thing that I actually had to go and make sure was not true before I picked this series up because Margaret doesn't like it when authors pull a Veronica Roth. And I was a little worried about that. But my friend has assured me that I don't have to be worried. I'm assuming this takes place kind of during the war that happens in Ravka, and it's taking place with the Grisha army. So that's about as much as I know about it, which basically, okay, so basically Grisha are these people who have magical powers, and there are 3 types of Grisha. There are the type that can manipulate human bodies. There are the type that can manipulate the elements, like the table of elements, not like wind and waves and water, because there's also a 3rd category of Grisha who can manipulate like weather. I'm super excited about this. I will probably read it towards the end of the book of the month, because I know if this is anything like Six of Crows was like, the ending is going to make me want to just cry, which means it's going to make me want to read the 2nd book real fast. I really want to get through some of these other books before I get completely and totally taken over by a series. So, I mean, some of these are series books, but I don't have a choice because the next book is not out yet. Actually, the next 3 that I have, the next book is not out yet. I'm going to have to live with that. The next 3 you've probably heard of because I've seen them mentioned on BookTube many, many times. That's why I picked them up, because somebody mentioned them and I thought they sounded interesting. The first one is Reign the Earth by A.C. Galgan. It's about Shalia. She apparently has some sort of magical powers, and there's been a war. She ends up marrying the king of another country because she's trying to help stop the war, and then she gets to the other country, and apparently magic is outlawed there, and that's an issue, obviously. Well, I'm super excited to see what this is about. It sounds fascinating. I'm also planning on reading The Bells by Danielle Clayton. You have heard what this book is about. You have heard about it all over BookTube. If you watch anything that has to do with BookTube, you have heard about it. I have heard both good and bad things on social media. I am going to be reading it to see my own opinion, because that's typically how I like to do things, is I like to read a book and make my own opinion about it, about whether or not it is good or bad or problematic. Obviously, especially when it is stuff that doesn't pertain to where I am in my life, I listen to people who are actually in that situation. The last book that I have, I do have a few comic books that I'm going to try and get to, and I will show you those. I have no idea what the plot on those is. It's just, you know, I picked them up because I like the particular characters in the title. But the last book, I don't know how I got this book from my library. I don't know how I was not on a wait list of like 45 people. But the last book is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This is actually probably the next book I am going to pick up, because I think it has to go back to the library a week from Monday. So by the time you've seen this, it's a week from yesterday. Probably. So it's about Jade. You have heard this online too. She basically just decides that she is tired of being bullied by these fairies, and so she is going to become a super bad human who can kick all of their asses. That's the vibe I'm getting, at least. I'm super excited to read this because I've heard nothing but good things about this book. Like, I don't think I've heard a single booktuber who has not liked it. I'm sure there are people out there, I just haven't found them yet. But I haven't. None of the people that I know and trust have disliked it. As for the comic books, I am planning on reading Green Arrow Volume 3 because I love me some Dinah and Ollie. They got this super, like, battle couple picture that's, like, only marred by the fact that her waist is ridiculously small because, you know, guys don't know how to draw girls. What can you do? In contrast, look at this. Diana is, like, so well built. So, and then I'm also reading the next 2 volumes of Justice League. I've read volumes 1 and 2. I really like the dynamic of them trying to figure out how to work this new Superman into their dynamic. Because he obviously knows a completely different version of the Justice League, and they obviously know a completely different version of Superman. So I have really, really enjoyed kind of seeing that play out in the Justice League stuff. And then I have All-Star Batman. You know I'm going to be excited about this because it has my main superhero, Bruce Wayne, on the cover. It's about him. He is my fave of all the superheroes that have ever superheroed. You knew this. You know this. I've talked about it endlessly, but I'm super excited to see what this is. I've heard it's very, like, I've heard that Scott Snyder is a very interesting writer. I would like to see how he measures up to Tom King. See if I like him as much. Oh, look! Yes! Duke's in this! I've been trying to read more about Duke. I feel so bad because I don't really know Duke all that well as a character because I think he originated in like the New 52 series, and I pretty much refuse to read that at this point because I've heard it was a huge mess. I'm super excited to see a little bit more of Duke Thomas and get to know him better. I've liked him in Batman and the Signal because I've been reading that. So that is my March TBR. Per usual, I'm being super, super ambitious and probably bitten off more than I can chew for this month. But if all goes well, I will be finished with writing my book, this draft at least, and therefore we'll have a lot more time to read. So hopefully I'll get through a whole bunch of this. If you liked this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, you can click the subscribe button if you would like to see more bookish videos from me. I post every Tuesday, sometimes on Wednesday, depending on how crazy life has gotten. I try to post on time though. You can also check me out at www.thewordnerd.com, and that is a 3 instead of an E in nerd. Because I had to be special like that. I talk about books and writing over there. And don't forget to check me out on Twitter and Instagram. Those are also The Word Nerd with that same 3 instead of the E. That's it for now, guys. I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye!